EMP versus nuke. You picked EMP.
Yeah, the EMP just it can do more damage. One of the things I actually learned from you was that an EMP dropped off of each coast could actually cover the whole country. I didn't know that until we had a previous conversation. And you know, so much of our military is now technology driven. I think they even said at the Air Force, the last fighter pilots have already been born. Everything's going over to drone technology and all that kind of stuff. So if you take out the communications and you take out all the equipment because it's so technology driven now, you're kind of back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, what the conversation is, there are 2 submarines that have EMP capability, and if they put one on each coast, yeah, the electromagnetic pulse waves would overlap in the middle of the United States and basically fry everything that has electricity going to it, which is pretty much everything we use in every day. And, you know, for the listeners, a tip here, I mean, what the most vulnerable aspect of your technology as it relates to an EMP attack is if it's plugged in or not, right? The cable, when you're charging something or you've got it plugged in for power, the cable becomes like an antenna. Then the longer the cable, you're increasing the odds of that EMP wave, you know, damaging whatever it's connected to, right? So, you know, yeah, it really,
that's wild.
Yeah, it boils down to the cables connected, which, I mean, is everything. That's the problem, right? You know, the best way to do the comparison is, you know, we've learned, you know, over time that we plug everything into a power strip. The power strip then protects us from a surge in our grid. So if the grid has a surge, the power strip protects everything that's connected to it. Well, think of an EMP as a surge, but there's nothing that you can put in the middle of that to protect your electronics. And the cables become the antenna that attracts the wave. And so the bigger the antenna or cable, the more effect that it has on your electronics. So it's a pretty fucked up deal. But here's the plus side is most of the technology China has, they stole from us. So we know the vulnerabilities as much as we know the advantages of it. So, hopefully we are, as a government and strategy wise, I'm sure we have plans in place that affect the vulnerabilities of our own technology, which means we know how to affect theirs, but who knows? But yeah, EMP is scary. Let's get into a little bit of your career. So you spent time, you're a sniper, you're at SEAL Team 10. Kind of tell us about some of those experiences.
It was good. I was in the teams for it was only 6 years. It was a short stint, and it is what it is. I had some medical complications that pushed me out of the military, but the stuff that I did in the team, kind of like what you were saying, to where you were doing, you finished up your time doing those one-man missions, and you're like, dude, I'm just out here. A lot of the stuff that we were doing was tracking war criminals and terrorist cells in Eastern Europe. And we were doing a lot of stuff that was more on the surveillance side and building intel packages. So scout, reconnaissance, sniper operations, and whatnot. It was cool. It was different than what I thought I was going to be doing, but you don't pick what your job's going to be. You know what I mean? But it was pretty cool. It was a good experience.
Yeah. That's all the PIFWIC stuff, right?
Yeah. They just didn't really have a name for it at the time. It was just kind of, now there's actual legit programs and stuff for it. But it's, back when I was doing this was in the early 2000s. So you didn't have smartphones and stuff yet. So I remember we were taking video cameras and jerry rigging wires into through the straps of backpacks and doing those little button pin video, camera lenses. And we're walking into stores and stuff where they were laundering money or they were, moving weapons and shit like that. And we're trying to get video camera of the guys, and putting tracking devices on cars and all that kind of stuff. So it was really, when you look back on it now, it was like very antiquated technology. Like it's so much easier now, but we just had to figure out ways to make it work. So there's a lot of creativity involved in trying to take the stuff that you had and make it into something that you could actually hide. And one of the big issues was trying to figure out how to power it. Like the batteries are much smaller now. Back then, the battery packs, were huge, and you had to figure out how do you hide this stuff and power it for 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. And I think, it's obviously become a lot easier now. Technology's gotten smaller. It's gotten cheaper. Heck, anybody can go and buy a pinhole camera off Amazon and put it pretty much anywhere and it be undetectable, which is scary. It's not easy to find that stuff. And I can relate. I mean, at the beginning, trying to, put something together was a pain in the ass, but I feel like it also, like you said, it forced creativity. Whereas now it's so small and so readily available that, you really don't have to be all that creative anymore, or that smart, or that educated in BEE. Like I spent a lot of time in basic electronics and electricity schools, learning how to, solder and do all these things so that you could modify consumer products into weapons or surveillance systems or whatever. But now you don't even have to have any of that. You can go buy some fucking GoPros and shove them in a Kleenex box and they'll collect video all day long.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I remember doing some of the scout reconnaissance stuff where we were going to go in on a 3-day operation to watch a target. And in your bag, you had your camera, like a Canon camera. Then you had like the doubler lens, then like that big 400 millimeter lens. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to watch a target for 3 days. How many batteries does it take to power this camera for 3 days? Then you had your tough book, like laptop. And it's like, how many batteries does it take to power a laptop for 3 days? Then you had your personal communications and then all the radio batteries. Then you had the big radio and the satellite that send back the imagery. And how many batteries for 3 days? Dude, I remember you just be like, okay, I'm not going to eat. I'll bring some water. I'll bring a couple granola bars. Like, I'm just going to fast essentially for 3 days because my bag is so damn heavy with batteries that I can't bring anything else. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then now it's just like, dude, cell phones, and you just bring your rifle and you just put the little tiny cell phone camera behind this scope. And it's like, there you go. There's your camera. You know what I mean? With your magnification, you know what I mean? You couldn't do that with the big camera lenses, and all your stuff, you just text it back, and right. It's a different, the technology has made the game different.
It is, man. It's amazing. Yeah.
The computer's on your phone, so right. Like it's wild.
Everything scary is in the palm of your hand. No doubt. Are you requiring students to show up with their own ammo, or are you providing it? And has it been difficult for you to, stockpile that stuff?
Luckily, I have some good relationships with different gun manufacturer or ammunition manufacturers, because if you try to call up and order 10,000 rounds, they're going to be like, oh man, this is tough. But if I order 10,000 rounds, they know that I'm going to be calling back for another 10,000 rounds. So what we'll do is if you need ammo, we can get it. But one of the things also that we have is a local manufacturer who makes us frangible ammunition, and it increases the training experience so much because we can shoot steel at a very close range and not worry about ricochets and fragmentation. And it's one thing it really changes the dynamic of the drills. It's very rewarding, and it picks up the speed of the class because you don't have to walk down range and look at the target to see where the impacts were. We know immediately whether you hit or not. So the runs stay really fast and fluid. If you've never trained with frangible ammunition, it's one of these things that like a lot of people just don't even know what it is. but it's a game changer for your training experience. It really is.
No, that's awesome. And is he doing 5.56, 9 mil, like your basic NATO rounds?
Yeah, right now it's a little different just because of everything. But this time 2 years ago, we were doing 9 mil, 45, 40 cal, 223, and 300 blackout. So
awesome.
Right now we're primarily getting the 223 and 9 millimeter, which cool. The 223 will run in your 5.56, just in case you're wondering. But we can run the 223 in a 5.56. You can't run the 5.56 in a 223. So for that one, we just do it in 223, so it can go in either weapon system.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't think most people say, "Hey, they're exactly the same." Well, kind of, sorta, but not.
Ish.
Yeah, I might have to drive out to you because I since this pandemic, and I know you know this. I mean, like ammunition, guns. I mean, obviously the sales have gone through the roof. It's stressed the supply system. Steel has become invaluable to everyone at this point, whether you're a knife maker, gun maker, or you're building buildings. I mean, it's just insane. I think things are starting to get back to normal little by little, but ammunition certainly has been an issue for quite some time now. And I might have to drive out to you and load up on whatever you got going on. You're listening to Can You Survive This Podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.